while Arkansas shoots well from the 3-point line and beats an undermanned Missouri team 76-57 in a game that was never really in doubt, even though Missouri did get it down to 11 or so a couple of times in the second half. The outcome was pretty secure. This is Arkansas basketball recap. I'm Daniel Price. That's Jacob Price. What are you going to say about this one? I think the most interesting thing about this, well, there's a couple of interesting things. One, hey, a couple games now, we have some evidence that sometimes Stanley Mude will just straight hit some shots, and I like that coming down the stretch. I mean, if you can,
for sure,
you can become the best 3-point shooter on the team, that's fine with me, and so that's good. Also, the minutes were really wild. I mean, Musselman played like 5 guys the vast majority of the game.
I know, which because with the fact that it was not really in doubt. I mean, like I said, maybe if they'd gotten up by, they couldn't really get past that 20-point mark. I mean, he might have been waiting until they got up by 25 or 27 before he started sticking.
Even the guys that normally, like Likes didn't play that much. Kamani Johnson didn't play that much. Those are guys that you would expect to get money, especially if you told me, hey, Tony's going to play 6 minutes.
Well, that was that punitive?
Oh, I think so. Don't you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know what the other explanation is.
But I would have thought Kamani Johnson or someone else was going to get a lot more minutes. Instead, he's just like, I'm going to play Devo, and I'm just going to run with these 5 guys. I'll play Likes a little bit, Kamani Johnson a little bit, but that's pretty much what I'm doing. And so that was not, I'm not saying it was wrong, but it was an interesting thing. And it does seem like he was not going to, like Tony was, if he didn't have to play him, he wasn't going to.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think Likes is the most confusing, because that seems like a perfect game for Likes to get in there where, he can just try, because I mean, he's been doing better, but it's hard. He's only getting, even playing more, he's only getting 15 to 20 minutes, and this is a perfect game to get him, maybe 25, 30 minutes, and like let him really try out the point guard spot. Now, like I said, maybe it's just that the game wasn't in doubt enough, but it is certainly weird that his minutes got cut back a little.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. Maybe he'll get asked that question at the press conference, and people will. I'm sure he'll get asked about Tony, because that seems obvious that was probably because of that technical foul.
Yeah, it seems like he decided, we're not going to need you in this game, and because we don't need you, I'm not going to play you, and don't do that ever again.
Yeah, well, we were talking earlier before the game, like maybe 3 days ago or something, but we were talking about how when, I can't remember the exact circumstances, but a game where I think did he hit a 3-point shot that put us up by something? It was like 2 years ago.
Mason Jones.
Yeah, and then I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was still like 3 seconds left or something, and he, I think, ran down the court and was like kind of, shouting, maybe this is my house kind of thing, but
not playing defense.
But and he was shouting at particular fans, like he was like people that he'd been, getting into it, and wasn't playing defense, and was even in slight danger of getting a technical foul. Yeah. And he, I think, didn't play much the next game.
Right.
And he was, and that'd be like Note not playing, like he was the guy. So yeah, I definitely don't think like Muss loves it when you self-harm the team, and it does make it way worse for Tony that we lost by 1. I mean, that's just the worst. But
and hopefully he can take the medicine. I like Tony. I like his game a lot, and we certainly need him. So hopefully he can be a big boy about it, and take the whooping, and
he seemed like he was at the end of the game. He was clapping and standing for the thing. So I think he probably gets it.
I think that's just Muss being like, hey, we got a tournament coming up that we plan on being in, and we can't have that happen then. So I'm gonna really drive it next time it enters your mind to do something like that. you're going to be like, oh, wait, I don't want that to happen because, you'll have something that you can reference easily being like, last time I did something like that, it went really badly. So I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, and for ball players, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's so much work what those guys are actually doing, all the practicing and the working out and the staying in condition. I mean, it's just so much work, and the carrot is those minutes on the floor.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's why I feel so bad for guys like Connor and stuff, and
Oh,
even
yeah.
likes when
This
he's not
seems like
playing.
a game you could have given Connor a couple minutes, bro. Right? Like,
Yeah.
you're just trying to make this dude transfer out of here. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty locked in on his rotation, and he is preparing for Tennessee
He
and
is.
this tough stretch. But now I lost my train of thought. But
Well, just that
uh,
you were talking about the carrot, and the end of the stick is the minutes.
oh, I was gonna say, yeah. So it's like with my kids, like there's lots of different ways to discipline them, but every parent knows there's the nuclear thing, which is whatever they value most. If it's that birthday party that's coming up, or I mean, generally with my kids, it's I'm taking your tablet or your no screen time whatsoever,
Mhm.
because that's what they do for entertainment. And for a ball player, you can make them run laps or stay late and shoot or do suicides or whatever, and it has some effect, but you really want to get the point across. You take their minutes away, and I mean, because like what else are they doing it for? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's the whole thing. So I do think like you're right. I mean, going into the tournament and even this next stretch coming up where there is just no doubt these games are going to, if we're even have a chance to win some of these games coming up, they're gonna they're unlikely to be 10-15 point games. They're probably going to come down like they all have to a couple of plays, and you just can't gift teams fouls, points, and
Possessions.
possessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Um, Moving on from that, I thought this is probably Trey Wade's best game.
yeah, I was glad
Uh,
to see him back out there a lot, because I was a little confused
mhm.
as to why.
Shot the ball well. He had 12 points and 11 rebounds. Give me that double double. So I thought he played well. Stanley Moody played great, obviously. He's just easy player of the game, I would think. He shot the ball well, 23 points, 5 rebounds. Note played. Note didn't shoot the ball great. He was 6 of 16. Made 3 of 5 3-pointers, so he shot well from the 3-point line. 17 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. He played like Note plays. He played fine.
Well, and I think this is part of what Musselman's thinking. I think is teams the word's out on Note.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he's in a battle with Pippen for the SEC Player of the Year and scoring Player of the Year in the SEC, and because we aren't a strong offensive team other than Note, like I mean, we're fine, but like we struggle to shoot and stuff. It's super vital that Amude is coming on. I think you'd really like to see what he did out of Devo tonight. Like
Devo was great. Devo
Devo's
played well.
his defense and his jump shot is going to be very important. It's just important to have other vectors of scoring, because teams are going to start to do what Missouri did. I mean, but the reason Notes didn't shoot that well is because they were double and triple teaming him every time
Yeah,
he tried to do
yeah.
anything, and which is probably smart. But I mean, it just doesn't work if Amude is going to shoot 50% from the 3-point line. So yeah, I think it's great that those guys are coming along, and
And Jalen scoring more, then you want to have him keep doing that. He went 0 for 3 from the 3-point line tonight, but I think you still want him shooting those shots.
yeah, and he still made some aggressive moves. Like
Mm-hmm.
he didn't, like, offensively, some things didn't drop, but he was still aggressive.
Mm-hmm. And he still had that
And
double double still. 13. I mean, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Nice.
Yeah. I thought they might throw him out, that elbow. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to get it that high.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe that guy was a little shorter than what he thought he was or something, but it did look bad,
Yeah.
you know. And it looked worse from different angles. Like the angle from the side where you could see that his head
I
was
don't. Yeah,
totally.
I don't think it was malicious though.
No, but there was one angle where you couldn't really tell that he was like totally had his head turned to the side,
Mm-hmm.
and wasn't paying attention really. But there was one from the kind of the back where it looked like he just put that elbow right in his face. And you're never aware of what the refs are seeing, what replays they're seeing. But that there was one particular one where I was like, ugh, if that's the only one they're looking at, they may call that a flagrant too.
Yeah, some of that depends on what kind of player you are. I think if you're a player with a different reputation than Jalen Williams, that you might be getting tossed. If that's Kamani Johnson, he might be gone. I think Jalen Williams, I don't, he does. I don't think he's that kind of player. And the refs in the conference, they know, you know, who's who, and stuff. And
Yeah.
um, so if you're Grayson Allen, you're probably gone if you do that. But Jalen Williams is not. I don't think anyone thinks he's a dirty player or anything. So
Yeah. Yeah. But overall, I mean, like I said, I mean, I feel bad for Missouri. I mean, we've been there before. It sucks when seasons basically, you're not going to the tournament. You're kind of the punching bag of the league a little bit, and the fans aren't coming out anymore. Middle of the week game, uh, just sucks kind of for those guys.
it's
But
weird. It's weird. Like everyone has so much respect for Conzo Martin. And so I am assuming that he is a very good coach. I mean, everybody does. But man, they've really struggled, as of late. It didn't help that Xavier Pinson decided to transfer, I mean, that doesn't help you any. But I think it'd be a real. I would I don't know. Maybe he's not even remotely on the hot seat, but he does seem like a really well respected coach that is having a rough go of it the last few years.
yeah, he's been there a while now. I mean, I can't. I mean, he did well initially,
Mhm.
but I haven't been really paying close attention. Have they been how many is this their first really bad year?
They were not great
I mean,
last
and
year. I mean, last
yeah.
year was pretty down. Um, yeah, it's just look, man. Like somebody's got to be at the bottom of the conference. Like and like it's doesn't mean that Missouri could be good next year. Uh, I'm not one of those fans that thinks that like, oh man, we had a bad season. Never, we got to get rid of somebody. Uh, every team, if unless even Kentucky last year. I mean, like Kentucky's and look at North Carolina this year, and so it happens, and uh, somebody's going to be on like the losing end of close games, and I know that their games aren't close. They've been getting like slapped around a lot and stuff, but when you have stuff like how many scholarship player like 5 scholarship players that are able to dress out and that kind of stuff. I mean, that ain't coaching, man.
Yeah, I guess I wish, and I know that they're still trying to learn, still trying to win. They still want to compete, but at this point, they don't look like they're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what's kind of a bummer about it. It's like you kind of wish at least those guys would be like, well, we didn't have a great season, but hey, we get to play basketball at a college level. Let's just go have some fun. And there was more smiles and stuff. But I mean, I know they're competitive, and it's hard to have that attitude when you're losing.
Yeah.
But and like I said, I don't know much about Conzo Martin. I mean, I know he did really well. He was the coach of the Missouri Valley Bears,
Mm-hmm.
and I think won the Missouri Valley with them, and then went to
Yeah, I
Missouri.
just know that and I know people are like, why are you talking about this? Probably, but there's not a ton to talk about in this game, so we're trying to talk about something. Uh, I just know that every time that coaches talk about him, they talk like it's with a lot. There seems to be a lot of respect there, for whatever reason, and so it's just interesting, him struggling and stuff.
I can't
He
remember
does
if it was
he does seem like every time I hear him talk, he seems great. So
yeah,
that's part of it too. Like he just seems like a good dude, So
ridiculous name,
Konzo,
not a name.
is that his real name? I don't know if that's his real name. Even who knows?
It better be because otherwise, what's going on? Like, well, I don't know which is worse. If it's not his real name, I mean, I guess it would be better if it was a nickname. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be better. But that's not a name
Yeah.
because it's also like one of those names. Like, wait, Gonzo, like the Muppet? No, Conzo. Well,
Yeah. Well, Gonzo
now
would
I'm
be worse.
now I'm all confused.
Gonzo just sounds Italian or something, but Gonzo, that's terrible.
Well,
Anyway, we're way off here.
yeah, I can't remember if it was tonight, but they were showing at one of the half times of some game I was watching. They were showing the SEC coaches and how insane the coaching staffs are. And when they do jump around on that montage, it's like, holy crap!
Mm-hmm.
You know, these there's 8 coaches in the SEC that are not just good, but like really good and fiery and likable. I mean, guys, like I would take any of those. You know what I mean? Not over Muss, but if Muss left, there's 8 coaches in the SEC that I'm like, can I have those guys? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I don't think I'm trading Musk for anybody, to be honest with you. I I love what Musk does.
yeah,
Um,
I do too.
yeah. So by the way, looking forward to Saturday, huge game against Tennessee, who just beat Kentucky.
And led the whole game.
Yeah.
Not a buzzer beater. They they were up by what did they end up winning by? Because they were up by 18 with like 5 minutes left.
They ended up winning 76-63. So they won by 13.
But still, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a pretty front to back, win for them.
That's a big
I
game,
mean,
man. That's a big game. I mean, I'm assuming the Bud's going to be rocking for that. I mean, Kentucky's ranked 4th. Tennessee's ranked 16th, and they just knocked them off. And so you got to think that's a big one, and you got to play them twice down the stretch. So it'd be nice to get that one.
it's going to be tough to beat them at home. I mean, Kentucky just couldn't do it. So, yeah, I mean, you don't want to concede anything, but you got to assume they've got a lot, a big advantage at home, and it's unlikely that you're going to go in there and win that. But that makes it vitally important to win this one. And just as for fun, I mean, like you're ranked 23rd now, and
Finally, guys, good grief,
and they're 16, but they just beat Kentucky, so they're going to be looking for that Sunday poll to come out after they beat Kentucky and Arkansas.
Yeah, they're going to
And
be
they,
like,
I mean,
they just get that top 10. They're going to say,
yeah,
we're going to knock off two top 25 teams in the same week.
absolutely. They're going to be looking for that top 10, ranking. And conversely, Arkansas, I mean, man, if they just won at Alabama, just if they just snuck one out, they'd be so far right now. But even still, you beat Missouri on the road. If you beat Tennessee after they just beat Kentucky, I mean, you get into the teens.
You're in those teens. Yeah, for sure. That's what you're trying to do, man. Creep up. I mean, what you're trying to do, honestly, now you're talking. I mean, you don't want to say things are a given, but now you're starting to think about seeding, that kind of stuff. You'd like to not go in as like, if you could get in there and get 6 or higher, that would be real nice. Try to stay away from a second round matchup against, a number 1 overall seed or a number 2 overall seed, that kind of thing. That would be good. So yeah, man, you're starting to think like that, but you gotta win some games like that. To get that, you got to beat Tennessee at home. That's the kind of stuff you got to do.
Yep.
And
yeah, I mean, it seems like if you beat Tennessee at home, you'll probably be stacked right there with them because our records will be the same, right? Or at least
I believe Tennessee is 19-6 and Arkansas is 20-6. So we'd be 21-6. They would be 19-7.
Oh, because we just played more games.
Yeah.
What about and the conference record? We're
the conference standings right now
we're
are
one behind them.
Yeah. So as of right now, you've got Auburn at 11-1. You got Kentucky at 10-3, Tennessee at 10-3, Arkansas 9-4.
Yeah. So if we beat Tennessee, we'd have the same conference record.
But we had
And
tiebreaker
well, temporarily.
temporarily, but still, you're gonna jump them. You're gonna jump them for a minute anyway. And
Yeah. And
that's what you
so
want, man.
we'd be ahead of them in the SEC, and we would be probably stacked with them somewhere right on top of them in the overall poll. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it'd be hard to see them falling if they beat Kentucky and then lose it to Arkansas at home. So they probably just hover there. And then we would probably jump up and maybe, you know, maybe be 16-17 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think so. And then looking at the schedule, so we got 5 games left. And so we gotta go, we got Tennessee at home, then we gotta go at Florida, Kentucky at home, LSU at home, at Tennessee. That's what we got. So that's we had a week where the last 2 games, not the one was last week, obviously, but so we had 2 road games in a row. So now we get to have a home game. And so you have 3 out of your last 5 at home. They're not easy. It's Tennessee, Kentucky, and LSU. It's not easy. Then you got Florida on the road, Tennessee. I mean, here's the thing about this final 5-game stretch. These are all lose. I mean, I know every game in the SEC is losable, but these are all really losable games. I mean, when we were heading into the final 7 games, the percentages said that they thought Arkansas was going to go 2-5.
Right.
And so we got one of them, and we didn't get one of them. So maybe they were expecting us to beat LSU at home and lose the rest, or Florida on the road and lose the rest, or something like that. But you got to be careful here, man. Like, you don't want to. You could lose 4 out of the next 5. I mean, you could lose all 5 of them, really. But I don't think that'll happen. But
it could, though.
Dude, Tennessee twice, and you have Kentucky and Tennessee twice. You have those 3 games out in your last 5. You can easily lose those 3 easily, and then you have LSU at home. You think you should win that game, and you have Florida at the road. That's a toss. Like, Florida on the road that's a toss up.
Yeah. Well, and even LSU, the problem now with teams like LSU and Florida is they're desperate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they're out for blood. Like, they are trying to get in and separate. I mean, if you look at that stack, I think it's 6-6 is the record,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a bunch of teams at 6-6. And so Florida and LSU are going to be really gunning hard. And I can't help but think, I mean, this is just the way. I mean, I'm not based on anything, but just the feeling is, kind of feels like Arkansas started that LSU skid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That game I mean, they were hot and kind of buckled their knees, and then they had a hard time getting back in the groove. I mean, part of it was they had personnel problems too, but they're going to be coming into, even though they're going to be coming into our place, they're going to be desperate for winning in more ways than one. You know what I mean? Like, they badly are going to try to get revenge. And
they lost to Arkansas, and they proceeded. That started losing. That was the streak where they lost 6 out of 7 games, and that span. They beat Texas A&M, but they lost. I mean, they're losing to like Vanderbilt and Ole Miss, and stuff that you didn't expect to happen. Now, that being said, they have won 2 in a row since then. Now they are on a 2-game winning streak with wins at Texas A&M and against Mississippi State. And guess what? That also is happening is Xavier Pinson is playing. Like, so that is going to make a difference, dude. Like, I mean, like they didn't have Xavier Pinson. Like, it was still a great win, and it got the streak started, and you were on the road. So, I mean, there's no asterisk by the win. That's a quality win. But they are going to come in here. They're going to want revenge, and they also have someone that they didn't have before. And not just anybody, like somebody very good.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough, dude. I mean, and if you lose all 5 of those games, now you're talking about like the reverse of what we were just saying. Like, you're like, God dang, if we make the tournament, are we having to play? Are we a 14, or you know,
Mm-hmm.
are we scratching in and having to play some kind of 2 seed or 3 seed or something like that
Yeah.
in our first game? So
We're gonna tell you what, man, and Florida is gonna be. We're gonna get Florida at the end of a brutal stretch for them. I mean, Florida just. Here's the 4 games leading up to the Arkansas game. They played at Kentucky, at Texas A&M. Then that was the game they played tonight. Then they have to go. Then they play Auburn and then Arkansas.
mm,
I mean,
dude,
that is brutal.
it's just a tough conference right now. I mean, I know there's some weak teams that you'd rather play on the edges, but like there's a bunch of losses in the SEC lurking
Mm.
everywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's fun though. It makes it where if you can win them, you're gonna be ranked.
I mean,
And
I do think this Missouri game is the last sort of. Well, we won the game. That's the last one of those for the rest of the year.
yeah, oh, I'm nervous. I'm like I said, I'm definitely already feeling like, come on, especially about this Tennessee one. It's like it feels like gotta win against Tennessee at home. Because if we, I mean, just because if you lose that, and it's like, man, now you absolutely have to beat LSU at home, and you
Florida on
really
the road.
need Florida on the road, and that's definitely not, you know, going to be easy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Huge game.
big game.
Yeah. Well, I think we can leave it there. Uh, we'll probably have a much more interesting and exciting, just because if we win, even if we blow them out, it'd be exciting. But a much more exciting show next week, or not next week, Saturday. And so we'll be back then, dude. And yeah, man, let's get that win against the Volunteers.
Let's do it. Let's hope Mude shoots 50% from the 3-point line and hits a half a dozen.
Well, let's keep that going. All right, man. See you
All
Saturday.
right. See you, dude.